The Experts with Jason Lauren.
You're special.
Specialists who specialise in very special things.
Hi, I'm George Goulburn. My area of expertise is providing adult services for women.
Let's hear from the expert.
George, good morning.
Good morning, George.
Good morning.
I've booked you for Lauren today. Lauren, I've booked you George.
Nice to meet you, George.
And you, but I think you're engaged. So.
I am engaged, but I don't think that would stop some people, George.
It doesn't stop some people. That's
It doesn't,
true.
does it?
It's true.
Do you care
Look,
if your client's engaged, married, single?
No, it's their business. So I'll leave that up to them. And they're coming to see me for a reason, and whatever that may be. So, no, it doesn't affect whether or not I will see them.
You don't ask questions?
I don't.
So when you have a client, do you ask about their personal life or it's just strictly business?
No, I do like to get a bit of their background. It helps me to understand what it is that they're after and perhaps how I can make it a great experience for them. And some of that does include them telling me about their personal background.
Yeah,
So
right.
Is it all about sex?
Absolutely not.
No, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I've watched Juice Bigelow, male gigolo.
Is that where he blends the goldfish?
Yes,
That's
yes.
the only scene I remember.
Have you watched
from
that movie, George?
I've not. And no
Right,
goldfish are involved in
No,
my
right,
line of
right,
work. No.
But it's a big business just for people that want company, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And look, probably a better movie to watch is one called Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, that featured Emma Thompson as,
Right.
as an older woman seeking the services of a younger
I
man.
love Emma Thompson.
Yeah, it's a terrific movie. And it really highlights the importance of her feeling sexy again and leading into her age and maturity and the company. That's what is really the most important part.
Okay, so to simplify it, because I think a lot of people would hear escort and go, oh, no. What does a male escort do? What is the job? What does it entail?
Sure. Well, yes, sex is a big part of it for most clients, but then there are others who just want to feel confident and sexy again. So that can be someone who's just showing them some affection. So, for instance, I've had dates where they might go for 4 hours and we just go on a long drive. We go to a winery, check out some art. And it's just the company because so many women have not been touched or held for many years. And they might have had a partner who's passed away or are just lonely and just don't get that type of affection. And they can't get that type of affection anywhere else, really.
Right.
When you're on the
So
clock.
it's not as sleazy as it sounds. Like, there is a stigma around being an escort is a sleazy job.
Look, far from it. I'm a professional. I've worked in the corporate sector for some 30 years. And I do this because I have an absolute love for women and respect for women. So I bring my personality to it. And there's nothing sleazy about what I do. I can guarantee that.
When you're out on a wine date or just going for a nice drive, because you're on the clock, do you ever try and get lost just to run up the bill? I've had cab drivers do that to me.
Oh, take it a long way.
Yeah, you know.
No. Look, I'm all about being professional, doing the right thing, because you're only as good as your reputation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
George, how'd you get into it?
Well, I was made redundant from my professional job about a year ago.
This could have been you, Jace, at the end of last year.
Yeah, we got the ask last year, George.
So I heard.
Yeah,
Jace.
I didn't even think of this as an option. I love driving.
Let's get back to George.
Sorry, George. How did you get into it?
Yeah, so it was a year ago I started up. But to be honest, I've been thinking about it for around 10 years because for the last 10 years or so, I've been dating a lot. I've been single and really enjoy meeting women and the company of them and learning new things. So when I got made redundant, I heard about a couple of male escorts and I thought, look, maybe now's the time. So I had a photo shoot, did a website, put myself out there. And
What did your
So
mate
this
say?
is the thing. Oh, sorry.
Look,
Hang on.
Ask
Sorry,
that question
sorry.
again. Sorry.
What did your mate say? Did you talk to family about it? And I'm
Yeah.
guessing you obviously didn't have a partner at this point.
No partner, still don't. My family and friends were really cool about it. And they were always fascinated and constantly are.
How old are you, George?
I'm 52. So I started as a 51-year-old. So I'm very much an outlier in the industry, you might say.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Because if you look at any escort advertisements, there's directories where you might go and search for an escort. And many of the males are in their early 30s or so.
So how does it work? I mean, I'm very naive to this world. Is there a website I go on and I look at the pictures of people and say, oh, I like him? Is it some WhatsApp group I need to be a part of? Like, how do I...
She's asking for a friend, George.
Yeah, of course. No, if you just Google straight male escort, you'll come across a couple of sites.
Because I imagine, though, that there would be a lot of women who would do that, and there would be things on the internet that you'd be like, oh, this is a bit sus. I don't know about this. How do you know...
Yeah. Well, that's a really important question to understand what it is you're looking for. So I advertise on one site. I have my own website.
Oh, and you've got your own website.
I do, yeah. So and I think that shows a level of commitment to the work.
Right.
That I've paid a web designer to design up a site for me that includes testimonials that other clients have written, my prices and the different things I offer.
Oh, I'll have to look up the website. I'm intrigued.
Can we go through prices, George?
Sure.
Can I go on your website? What's your website?
GeorgeGoulben.com.
Is that your real name?
No, it's not.
Oh, I love that. George. Did you go with George because of George Clooney?
No, I
think
didn't.
George is or George Costanza.
No, I used to have an office on the corner of George and Goulben Streets in Sydney.
There you go.
So what was it, the old first street you lived in for your porn name?
Do you know what mine would have been?
I was Sammy Palmer.
I was Benny Buller.
I would not have booked you. So, George, let's go through the prices. What would someone pay to get your services for an evening?
Well, if we're talking an entire evening
Yep.
and into the morning, so an overnight booking,
Yep.
That's $5,000.
Stay at yours or you stay at theirs?
Well, it's usually a hotel or their
Right.
place.
Okay.
Wow.
And look, I must hasten to add that doesn't happen often.
Right.
You know, we are in a cost of living crisis. So while my prices might look high, you don't get that money
What
very often.
would you commonly get booked for?
Often a 2-hour booking. So
Right.
where that involves sex.
Yep.
So
It's about the same. I'm not going to get to bloody a winery and back in 2 hours, am I? And
No.
have fun for that.
Depends where you live.
Yeah,
If you live
good
next
call.
door, you might.
Yeah.
So for that type of booking, it's $1,200. So we'd normally meet for a drink if we haven't met before.
$1,200 for 2 hours.
That's right.
How
yes.
often would you get booked?
Oh, look, it varies really. It's over the course of this last year, I've probably had a dozen of those. So, like I say, it's not big money unless you're doing it super regularly and the volume of clients are there. So
Yeah.
it's not quite as lucrative as some people might think.
George, do any of these women, have you got lots of repeat customers or is it a one-off?
It's usually repeat customers.
And do any of them get attached?
Yes, they do, in fact.
And is that a problem?
It is a problem. Yeah.
And do you have to then cut it off?
Well, I've got to really maintain strong boundaries and be very sensitive to the fact that once they're intimate with me, that can lead to attachment and
Right.
feelings.
Have you ever found yourself emotionally connected to one of your clients?
I have, yeah, because for me, it's a relationship. Even though it might be a short-term thing, I'm investing my emotional energy. So when I wouldn't say I'm attached to them. There's a strong connection, but I've got the ability, having dated for so long, to acknowledge that it's work, and it is a transaction at the end of the day.
So you've never thought, I'm getting into too far here?
No, I haven't. No, look, I've put a lot of my own energy into this line of work now, and so I'm not going to give it up for a relationship. That's just not something.
You don't think you're going to fall in love in the process?
Well, who knows? Yeah, it's possible.
Have any of the women, like, if you found or thought, oh my God, this woman is falling in love with me and I'm going to end up really damaging or hurting her, would you address that?
Absolutely, yeah. I would caution her about the consequences of what's going on, and I'd suggest we end it. The last thing I
Has
want
that
to do.
happened?
Not yet. No, there's been a couple of circumstances where they've got close, and we've had to sort of have a solid conversation and say, look, I think this might be harmful for you. I'm not offering what you want, so I'm going to have to pull back.
Has there ever been
Wow.
any fear that you'll run into someone you know?
That's always a chance. And look, frankly, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm proud of what I do, and it's something that society still has stigma around. And particularly, I must say, for women in this industry, I think us
you know
guys
what?
have
You're
an
right.
easier run.
It's really interesting and really disappointing that I think if we had a female escort in here right now, people would be like, oh, she's a hooker.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yep.
so different. And I don't know
Absolutely.
why that is.
No, and look, I wish it were different too. And as a
Is
male,
there a difference between prostitution and being an escort?
fundamentally, no. When you're talking sex
Yeah.
is sex. We use the word sex worker rather than prostitute. It's more respectful and
Yeah.
it shows that it is actual work.
Mhm.
And all credit to people of other genders, apart from a man like myself. They've had a really hard time and they still do. And I wish things were different and
Yeah.
that they didn't suffer.
Because it really
stigma.
shits me the way men and women are treated so differently when it comes to sex.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, this segment already would be seen as more scandalous if it was a female in here
Yeah.
talking.
Well, I feel like this, I don't know, maybe this is controversial, but for some reason sitting here talking to you now, before I met you and we had this conversation, I thought I would think this is really gross.
Mm.
But I don't feel really gross about this.
Well, I mean, you
At
got to
all.
think there'd be people who, are divorcees, widowers who just
Yeah.
want comfort.
That's exactly right. And quite
But
a few
there's
of my
men who-
clients
there are
people that
men
don't
who are
want
the same,
exactly,
right?
but there's corporate people that don't have time for all the relationship side of things.
And even think about it, online dating can be pretty soul destroying for so many people. It takes so much time and energy, and the quality of the guys there is just not that good.
George, what's the average age you'd get from a client?
I would say in their 50s
Okay.
for me.
And have you ever been in a situation where, and I imagine this would happen, you're just not attracted to them?
That hasn't happened. And,
Okay.
and the reason why is that I insist on a phone call to get a
Right.
sense of who they are. I request from them a photograph.
Do some of them freak out at that and they say, no, I'm not going to go ahead?
No. it's never
Really?
happened.
Okay.
No, because they've seen my photo, they've seen
Yep.
how I come across and what I've written about myself. So I say, look, I'd like to get a bit of an idea of who you are. So a phone call really helps. A photograph, sorry, I'm a visual learner, so it's like, okay, now
Who's
I
the
can
eldest?
get to see. There's a woman in her late 70s.
Oh, get
So-
it, Queen.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
for her.
No, and I think it's fantastic. She's a beautiful woman, and she's really still very vital. And I think
Still
it's
got it.
wonderful. It's
Still
beautiful
got
that women of any age can seek out something if
Yeah.
they're not really
I think
feeling it.
I think the grey area for me we touched on earlier is when you know someone is married or has a partner or is engaged and is deceiving that person. I think that is where it becomes.
But George isn't the one
it
doing the dirty.
flips. I know.
You know what
but
I mean?
You know
Like,
what
she's
you're
the one
doing.
that's-
And I understand
but-
respectfully that this is an industry for you. But I think that's where for me and for, I would say generally, people in general go, nah, that's not okay,
Yeah.
is that area.
Yeah, look,
Where there's deception
I
and
understand.
affairs and all of that.
Keep in mind for eons, men have been doing the same. So married men seeing a sex worker.
Oh, totally. But that's what I'm saying. So it goes both
Yes,
ways.
It certainly does. And look, there are if I think of an example where a client has a husband who is not sexually interested any longer, and she's gone through menopause
Yep.
and she has a real appetite, and she's had a conversation about perhaps opening things up, and it's gone nowhere.
So do you think some of these women who you see who are married, do they actually talk to their partners about it and they know what they're doing?
Yes and no. There's a client I've seen often. She and her partner don't live together. They've been together some 10 years, and they have an agreement, an understanding that they can do this
Do
if
that.
they so choose.
Yeah.
God, you got to pick the right time to pitch that. Want to make sure the environment's right.
You'd want to pick the right time to pitch that.
Yeah.
I'd
yeah.
do it in a public place probably, so
Good food court situation.
couldn't scream at each other.
She's not going to flip it outside grilled. Babe, there's something I want to talk to you about. Hey, George, and look, we can censor this bit out, but have you ever been asked to do something that you're uncomfortable with?
No, I haven't. And keep in mind, most of these people have never seen an escort before. So they're usually quite nervous, and they
It's not freaky. It's
not at all. No,
Yeah.
no. It's always classy.
Yeah.
And
What, you're like I imagine you're an expensive escort.
he's worth it. Look at him.
Yeah, I know.
some
totally.
people will look at me and say,
Well, are you expensive? Because there must be this huge spectrum of prices that people are doing.
I'm
this
sure
for.
there's
Yeah.
some bloody gym junkie who's 28 looking for a bit of coin on the weekend who's probably going to.
Not that people having money have more respect
No, no,
at
no, but-
all.
no,
In
no,
fact,
no.
it's often quite the
But
other
I'm
way
sure
around.
there'll be some young blokes trying to make $200, $300 here and there.
absolutely, yeah, there is. And there's plenty of those out there. I guess my niche is as sort of an older guy who's got life experience, a couple of university
Yeah.
degrees. I'm a smart guy,
Yeah.
and I appeal to those women who would find a young gym bod confronting and
It's not what they're after.
intimidating. No, they don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay, I want a juicy story. What's the wildest thing that's ever happened?
Oh, gee, I could go into my private life, but that's not, that's not what you're after. No, there's not really been anything
Really?
salacious. No, it's
But if
all.
people booked you to come to think, like one of my friends, this is many, many years ago, he just split with his girlfriend, I think it was his fiance. They just split up and he had to go to this birthday and he said, would you come with me as my date? But I kind of want people to think that we might be an item. And I was
What'd
like,
you charge him?
sure. I was like, sure, I'll come with you.
Yeah.
And like we weren't playing, we were great friends. We had a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
time
yeah.
and we didn't just say, no one said, are you guys just friends? But I was like, oof, do people do that to be like, can you be my date? I want people to think that we're together.
They haven't yet, but I'm really looking forward to that. I'd love to be a +1 at a wedding. I'm very social. I can.
Well, you get
Oh,
paid
look at
and you get a
Jill.
free meal.
She's got a new hot man with her.
Yeah.
Walk around holding hands.
I believe you've been booked to go overseas.
I have, yes, yeah.
From someone overseas or with an Australian person?
It's with a client from the US. She spends quite a lot of time here in Australia.
Right.
So the week after next, she's flying me over to Scotland to spend a week with her. So she's an absolute delight.
Is there no Scottish George out there?
Well, none
Invest
as good
in
as
local.
this one, perhaps.
No,
Fly
they're
'em
like
in.
Australians, the Americans.
No, yeah.
It's the accent.
Bloody hell.
So,
So
yeah.
she's obviously cashed up.
Well, yes, she's retired and she's seen a number of escorts. She's I'm not the only one, but yeah, she wants to enjoy life.
Yep.
She's in her 60s and she's thought it'd be great to have a companion with her for a week in Loch Lomond.
And do you guys have fun together?
Oh, absolutely.
Going out for lunches and dinners?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Oh,
I've seen her quite a few times
Fun.
already, and she's beautiful, and I just love her company. She loves mine.
so you're getting, outside of financial reasons, you're getting a lot out of this too.
Absolutely, yes.
You enjoy it.
Yeah, look, I love it. I've always been an outgoing person. I love meeting new people, and gee, if I can get a trip overseas, and
Have you always been a very sexual person? Because I imagine not everyone could go into this industry.
No, it's not that easy to do it.
Have you
it's-
always
I was about
had
to
like
say-
a high sex drive?
Yeah, I have, and I do. And look, it's far more than that to me. It really is about the I don't know, the whole experience of being with a woman and showing her a great time and making her happy and confident.
You know
and-
what? There'd be a bunch. I know my mates. There'd be a bunch of tradies right now listening. Go, bloody! I could make a bit of coin doing this on the weekends.
No.
Mm.
They're not as smooth as George.
No,
I
they're
can
not.
Tell.
They're not.
I can tell.
You know my mates. They're
I
not
know
as
your
smooth as
mates, and I've
George.
spent 10 minutes with George, and I know George as well as I'll probably ever know George. And he's
George,
pretty smooth.
have you? I guess the biggest hiccup that would come with this line of work is if you met someone you like and have had to tell them what you do for a living
I have, yes.
and how to go down.
Perfectly fine.
Really?
They were still comfortable seeing you
Yeah, they were.
and you being a male escort.
Yeah, she was in an open relationship.
Well, that helps.
It certainly does. And so, no, she was 100% cool about it.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, we're separated by different cities, so it wasn't sustainable ultimately.
Right.
Is it safe?
Sexually, it is, yes, for me.
Yep.
In terms of,
You got rules?
I've got all the rules, yes. And look, I worry for women in this industry who face more of the safety concerns than I do.
100%.
And look, unless I get a jealous husband partner coming after me,
Ever
you
happened?
you ever think about that?
I do. Yeah, look, I
Because
need to be
like
concerned.
your face is on your website.
Yeah,
Are we
it
allowed
is.
to show your face on our social
Yeah,
media?
you are. Yeah. So look, it comes with, it's a risk, sure.
But you're fine with
It's something I'm prepared to take. And because I feel so strongly and positively about what I do. And yeah, but it's different for women. They're often the subject of sexual abuse and violence, which is just unacceptable. Where by fortune of being born a man, I don't experience that.
You don't feel unsafe.
That'd
No,
be
I
it for
don't.
me. I'd be
Yeah.
out.
Are there things that have you got a line of things that you do and don't say to people? Are there things that you need to keep to you and to your family and keep private?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, look, it's like any if it's a work situation, certain things you'll tell your colleagues and
Yeah.
certain things you won't. So it's
Not
just,
in here. We tell everyone everything.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no line.
If
If
Yeah,
anything,
don't work
people,
here.
if
We've
anything
crossed it
people say
many
to
times.
us, you know what, you don't have to go into that much
But there
detail.
are things that you keep to yourself to protect
of course.
yourself and your
yeah,
family.
look, there's discretion. And while my family all know and are supportive, it's not something that they want to have people talk to them about necessarily.
And are you the same person that we're talking to right now when you're on a date, or do you go into a bit of a character?
Only a little. Look,
Yeah.
it's all about being authentic. And if you can't be authentic, people can see through that.
Yeah.
So,
But do you rent a Ferrari for the day and pick these women up in a Ferrari
Yeah, he's down at Hertz.
and make them think that they're dating a billionaire when really you've got a Hyundai Getz in there?
not a chance. No.
Yeah, right.
Look, what you see is what you get. And I think
How do we know it's you? Well, I'd recognise you, but like, do you say we'll meet in the bar and I'll be wearing this shirt?
sometimes, yeah.
That's quite exciting. That's like...
Depending what he said. I mean, he could say Hawaiian shirt. And you'd be like,
Oh, actually,
yeah,
George,
right.
go and get changed. I'm paying for this.
No,
didn't want
often I
Juice Bigelow.
Yeah.
I wanted George.
I'm in the Bundy Hawaiian shirt. You won't miss me.
you will not see any Hawaiian shirts on
Right,
my
Good
okay,
on
website.
you,
right.
George. Good on you,
Positively.
George. I suppose there is very much a stigma about this industry. Is there anything you'd like to say to people listening now that you think that they don't know?
Yeah, look, it's really important to appreciate that people see escorts for a variety of reasons. Just because it's something that they don't like doesn't mean it's wrong. It's legal, it's real work, and people want company. And that's what I experience so much in my line of work. It is not people just wanting a quick sexual encounter.
Sometimes it is, though, because there will be people screaming at the radio right now going, what do you mean this is okay? My husband went and saw an escort and it's not
but
okay.
I think it's going to be very different from girls just seeing George for. No one's seeing someone like George for a quick 20-minute hit.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right. My minimum booking is 2 hours. Women don't want a 15-minute booking, where some female workers do offer a half an hour minute booking.
Mm.
So look, yes, some people won't like what I do.
2 hours.
You know, I'm sorry
I'd
for
be
them.
exhausted.
That's
after
4
2
hours, a tipping point.
We'd be doing at least an hour and 40 at the bar,
Oh,
drinking
God.
mimosas.
Talking about where you bought that shirt. Hey, George, you don't have to answer this if you're not comfortable, but do you have kids?
I have a son, an adult son.
How would you feel if he went into this line of work?
Look, given that I do it, I would be okay, absolutely. And my mum is totally fine about what I do. And my son is an adult. He's very respectful. He's got other female friends who work in the industry as well.
Yeah, right.
So given I do it in a very ethical way, so far as, look, I'm open about what I do. And so I'm very comfortable with it. He's fine. He's like, yep, go Dad.
All right.
That's all
Go
cool.
Dad.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
George,
Dad.
it's been an eye-opener this morning.
I agree. I went into this interview with a different attitude that I have coming out of it, George.
But unfortunately, time is up, and
And
I
I'm
don't want to
still
go over the
not.
limit and pay more, Lauren, so we need to wrap it up.
Well, I'm just still not, there is still some uneasiness, but
I think there's two different worlds. There's people that are, doing the dirty and fulfilling something they're not getting, and then there's other people who are straight up honest and actually just trying to fulfill a need.
I absolutely see I can see that, but then, there's the other side of it that makes me go, no, there still is.
Do you know what blows me away
There's
at
a
the
lot
moment?
of deception in it for some people.
I must say, deception is a tiny part of the clients that I see.
Really?
Most of them are single. Most of them have
Really?
not had any intimacy or sex for sometimes more than 10 years.
Wow.
And so I don't think we should be denying them of the right
No.
to do that. If that's of their own free will, and if you were to read my testimonials from
I'm
previous
about to
clients,
jump online. I'm going to scour that website.
She's a big Google review girl.
you'll get a really positive sense of what
Right.
what I can provide for these women. It's in some cases it's changed their lives. And
Wow.
there's a client, for instance, in her mid-30s, and she absolutely credits me for getting her to feel confident enough to get back on the dating scene. And she's met a partner, and she's super happy.
Wow.
Oh, damn, though. That's a loss of income for you. No return business.
Has there ever been any inquiry from someone that you've gone, nope,
Plenty of them.
you do knock them back?
Can you give us some examples of what you knock back?
I get loads of tire kickers, time wasters.
Yeah, right.
So often it might be 2 a.m. They're like, oh, can you come around? And it's like,
Oh, the
At 2 in the
booty
morning.
call!
At 2 a.m, you
get
go,
sober and contact me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
later.
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're not taking advantage of taking their money at all
No,
hours.
because in the main, they're not going to be serious anyway.
Do they pay
Yeah.
up front? They have to pay first?
I get them to pay a deposit up front and to secure the booking, and then
Right.
the rest when we meet.
You carry one of those little FPOS tiles on you, you see them at
tile,
the
yeah.
markets,
Yeah.
scan your card.
I don't.
Right,
no.
okay.
But and often I'll get guys wanting me to have sex with their partner or
Right.
girlfriend or wife. And
And
almost
they watch.
almost every time they never go through with it because the partner doesn't know. And that's not good. And I'm not I'm not about that.
That's not your
I'm like,
thing.
look, unless I can speak to the partner and know that she really wants this, I'm not interested at all. And even then I will be very careful about going through with it.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Have you ever done adult films?
No, and I don't intend to.
Sometimes us blokes don't look good on camera.
Most times you blokes don't look on camera. So I believe. You need the right lighting.
Hey, yeah, it doesn't scream romance and sexy rocking up with a ring light, does it? You mind if I just set this up first? Hey, was that a snort?
It was a snort.
When are you going to retire? How old are you going to go?
I don't know.
As long as you can?
Yeah, I think I will. There's probably other avenues to move into, whether it be podcasting, coaching.
As long as it
It's
works.
very interesting.
As long as it works, you can keep going, George.
That's it. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Look, it gives a really unique insight into human relationships, and that's what really keeps me interested.
You need to write a book one day, George.
I know.
Oh, I think he's got the whole thing planned out.
Oh, good on you, George.
Hey, we really appreciate you coming in this morning. Do you want to mention your website again?
Yeah,
I'm on it. It's
GeorgeGolben.com.
GeorgeGolben.com. There's testimonials. It's all there. I was just looking it up. Great headshots on there too, George.
Beautiful. And
Better
mate,
get in quick because Lauren's booking him in.
No, I'm not. I'm very happily engaged. This is not my style, but for those who it is, I mean, good luck.
Cheers, George.
brilliant. Thank you.